Okay, the next question that we looked at today, they were looking at a board is 91 inches long. How long is it in feet and inches? So they did give us an example of the board. And if you notice, they started with 0 feet, 0 inches, and then they went from 0 feet all the way up to 8 feet, and then from 0 inches through 96 inches. It's good to notice that as they go up in feet, okay, they are going by increments of 1, okay, of 1. But when they go from inches, it's going in increments of 12. Okay, it's going in increments of adding 12. And we know this because for every 1 foot, there are 12 inches. Now, it may not be advantageous to set up a proportion because these are going to be nice numbers and it's something that you would be able to do on your own, whether it's use a calculator or at this point it would be a good idea to not use a calculator. You could check your work on a calculator. But one thing that we do need to know that 1 foot is the same as 12 inches, that there are 12 inches in 1 foot. That information is information that you need to memorize. It's something that you need to know. And they're telling us that we must change the 91 inches to feet. And therefore, because there are more inches, we know that if we divide by 12, we are going to get a smaller number, which would give us our feet. And they're giving us the example, okay, that the board is 7 feet, 7 inches long. And how did we come up with that? Well, we performed our long division. We have our 91 inches, and we're dividing by 12, which is our divisor. Our dividend would have been the 91. Our quotient, we would have just performed our long division, and we would know that 7 times 12 would give us our 84. Show your sign of operation, which would be your subtraction, and the number left is going to be 7. So we would have 7 inches left over because it would actually be 7 out of the 12. Okay, 7 out of the 12. So 7 feet, 7 inches. What we have to be careful about in instances like this, if they did in fact tell us that we need, okay, if they told us that we need only feet, lots of students would say that we would have 7.7 feet. That is incorrect. That would be incorrect. It's not going to be 7.7 feet because if you converted 7.7 into a fraction, it would be a mixed number with 7 and 7/10, which this is 7 inches, this is 7 inches out of 12. 7 inches out of 12. This would be incorrect. The only way that you could convert, to number of feet would be to extend this particular problem, and we would have our 91 divided by our 12. We could continue our problem, put in a decimal, and instantly the decimal would go up into the quotient. We could annex or put in several zeros, and then go ahead and continue. So here, yes, we would still have our 7. 7 times 12 would give us our 84. We would perform our subtraction, end up with a 7, bring down the 0. We have 70, and then we would say, how many times can I multiply 12? What can I multiply 12 by to get close to 70 without going over? That would be our 5, and so we would end up with 5 times 12, which would give us 60. We would have 10 left over, and we could go and bring down another 0, giving us 100, and then we'd have to ask ourselves, how many times can I multiply 12 to get close to 100 without going over? It would be 8. 8 times 12 would give us 96. Perform our subtraction, we have 4. Now, if we asked to round to the nearest tenth, we would have only one decimal place to the right, and we could go ahead and put our line, as we always do, look to the guy next door. If it's 5 or more, we would round up, and that would give us 7.6 feet. 37.7 feet. And that's where a lot of students make a mistake. It would be sort of looking at 3½ hours. And if I looked at 3½ hours, I would look at it as 3.5 hours. Some students think if it's 3 hours and 30 minutes, they would not make the mistake of putting 3.3 hours. They would not do that because they do know that 1/2 hour is 0.5. So we have to be careful when we are looking at a decimal equivalent that we just don't throw that number past the decimal point. Real easy mistake to make, but we just have to make sure that we continue our division. And that's it.